So this is what my workbench look like. Built out of Australian timber, and I finished this in around mid-2016. I used the Leevalley or the Veritas band pouch from Canada, and the Benchcrafted Vise, and the Benchcrafted Moxon Vise from the USA. I ordered these in 3 different orders back in 2015 when the Australian dollars were higher than the US dollars. Originally, I planned to use the Moxon Vise as a solder vise, but I didn't build that right, so I couldn't use it as a solder vise. Right now, the bench has only the tail vise, which I managed to get by somehow. The timbers for the legs and the stretchers are Australian spotted gum, and the top is Tasmanian oak. I got them in 3 different orders from 2 different shops. Now, I got the timber for the legs first, gluing them up, and then went back to the same shop for the stretchers. This is a small local boutique shop, so they was high enough to cut them to length for me. Now, I got the timber for the legs first, finished gluing it up, and then about 4 weeks later, I went back for the stretchers. Now, their supply of timber is not guaranteed. I did not realize this at the time, so I just was lucky enough to be able to get the timber that I wanted for the stretchers, because they was virtually the last pieces there. Now, so after I finished the legs and the stretchers, then I went out and looked for the timber for the top. In this video, I will be only discussing the building of the top, specifically how to install the tail vise without the need to do any routing to cut out the space for the vise. This bench is still a major project for me. At the point of building it, I was not very confident about my skills. I don't think I am now either. I had all the necessary hand tools to build it, so I decided that I should go ahead and build it anyway. I did make some mistakes. They are not major, and overall I am happy with the end result. I have a workable workbench. It doesn't have some essential feature yet, but I could add this feature in later on. For the Benchcrafted tail vise, I have worked it out that I need the timber to be around 11 centimeter thick to fit it. So after going through several shops, I finally found the timber that I wanted. They come in the length of about 3 to 4 meters, and the thickness is about 4.5 centimeter, and the width of around 11 centimeters. I am not aware that this is the standard timber size in Australia, but this is what I need. Now, at this shop, they don't actually cut the timber to size for their customer, and they don't actually allow any power tools inside the shop either. So to cut the timber, we need to take them outside and using a hand saw to cut it. That would take too long. So I pay for the delivery. The width I wanted for each top piece was around 25 centimeter. So 6 pieces of 4.5 would give me around 27 centimeter. I cut them up with a hand saw a little bit longer than the length that I require, just to compensate for any possible errors. Now, on the photo, the longest piece hasn't been cut yet. That would be the slot for the Benchcrafted taillight dog block, which I haven't calculated the length of that piece yet. Before I attempt to build the top, I have spent a great many hours studying 3 essential documents: Benchcrafted tail vise, assembly and installation instructions by Benchcrafted, split up Roubo-Bench plans by Benchcrafted, and building a Roubo Workbench by Hand. I hope I pronounced his name correctly. The document by Hand, I believe, was originally written in German and translated into English. Now, beside these 3 documents, I have also studied a number of instructional YouTube videos on installing Benchcrafted tail vise. Without these resources, I won't be able to complete this. Now, I am very thankful for the knowledge freely given. A common approach in these documents and videos is to finish the top and then using a router to route out the space required for the tail vise. That is very intimidating for me, since I don't actually have a router and I never used router before, or power tool in general, apart from hand drills. I could get myself a router, but with no prior experience, I could actually ruin the top, which is very pricey, around $200 in materials, and not to mention the hours that I put into it. So I need another approach. Going back and forth between the instructional documents and the videos, and eventually it dawned on me that I could prepare individual pieces as though they has been routed out by the router. Using what I have learned from the documents and the videos, and also by laying the pieces of the tail vise onto the unglued top, as though it has been finished, I carefully mark out what needs to be cut, and I cut the required pieces before gluing them up. These photos show what it looked like immediately after the glue has been dried. Now, piece number 2 has been cut shorter than the other pieces. This is the slot for the dog block. The length that it has been cut short of is the length required for the tail vise and the tenon for the end cap. Pieces number 3 and 4 have been cut as seen on the photo. This is the cavity for the sliding plate and the nut block. I was able to do all this using a handsaw, some chisels and some hand plants. Basically, this follow the instruction given in the installation manual, as seen on the right hand side. Now, during the final fitting, I had to do some adjustment to the cavity and etc., but I sort of expected that from the beginning, so that was not a big deal. The 2 recesses for the rails, I also cut them by chisel manual. They're not showing in this photo. So this is the 2 pieces of the tops after the glue has been dried up and prior to any blending. The glue that I used was Tybon 3. That's an American product which we can get in Australia. I was using Lee Nielsen number 5 and Lee Nielsen number 4 to blend the tops. It was very easy blending because the timber was fresh, and Tasmanian oak is a very friendly timber. For the end cap, the instruction manual also provides a template of how to fit it into the top. I basically follow that with a little bit of deviations. Now, I made the end cap a bit wider than the width of the top. I used mortise and tenon joints on the end cap and the top. It is easier like that. I did not glue the top and the end cap together either. I'm using 2 8mm bolts to hold the two together. I drilled 2 holes on the underside of the top and drop 2 parallel nuts onto that, and that's how I was able to get the screw to screw into the top. This is the underside of the vise. I managed to keep the barrel nut inside permanently by sealing the hole with a wooden pin and glue it together. So there's another hole, but it is hidden above the vise screws. With this configuration here, I'm able to remove the end cap if I wanted to, and if I don't like it end cap, I could replace it with another. The end cap was a bit difficult for me. It took me 3 attempts to get this one right. The first 2 was wrong due to the drills holes being not very accurate. I don't have any drill press. All of my drilling was done with a hand drill. For the bench door, I don't actually use the 2 screws provided by the tail vise. I'm using 2 6mm bolts to hold the bench door onto this sliding plate as seen on the photo here. And I also have the bench door higher than the surface of the top so that I can actually clamp the piece directly using the bench door. This way also, if something happened to the bench door, I could replace it with another one. Because the bench door is not permanently screwed onto the sliding plate, I decided to use the Veritas planing stop instead of building a door strip onto the bench. Because of that, I needed to drill a series of parallel holes of 19mm in diameter. The planing stop that I have is 9 3/4 inch, and so far it has worked out very well. The planing stop is thin enough to not get into the way of the workpiece. If I have to plan any piece that is thinner than the planing stop, then I would be in trouble, but so far I haven't. Just a quick demonstration of how everything fits together. So usually I need to work out the distance and then insert the planing stop to the correct holes. Now, the piece that I will be planing is a recycled Tasmanian oak. So it has been exposed to the weather for quite a while. So it proved to be a little bit difficult at a fresh timber from my previous try. Okay, so I planted it in. Now, the plan that I am using is a Lee Nielsen number 5. Okay. Yep, that's how it is. Well, even though it is recycled timber and it is hard, but compared to the spotted gum, which I have used for the legs and the stretcher, it is still much easier to plant. Some of the Australian timbers are very recalcitrant and difficult to plant. Thank you for watching, and I appreciate that. Bye.